on the issue of economic sabotage. Yes, my brother, you are correct. Let me tell you something. When you look at Afghanistan, when you look at Iraq, the reason the United States left Iraq was because the amount of American death through the insurgency could not be explained to the American public on the United States' interest in Iraq. And so the deaths of Americans on the street generally changed public opinion perception about US interest. It wasn't on national security grounds. It couldn't have been explained on economic interest because that is subterfuge. If you look at the withdrawal of Russia from Afghanistan, it was because of the punitive measures of the Mujahideens, shooting down helicopters because they were supplied with US Sting missiles. They punished the Russians, they blew off their tanks, and that made political power in Moscow to explain the rationale for being in Afghanistan difficult. If you look at Syria, the insurgency in Syria basically delegitimized the political power in Damascus through punitive surgical operations that made soldiers in Damascus to lose the fighting morale until the Russians went in. Economic sabotage alone will not do the trick. I'll give you an example. Remember, for all of us who are old enough, in between 1991 to 1993, the 9-month ghost town cost the Douala seaport close to $4 billion a month. Biya flew into Douala and said, when Yaoundé breathes, Cameroon is okay. We engaged in civil disobedience where there were no taxes being paid. It didn't crumble Biya. The 9 months ghost town made it impossible for timber and other raw materials to move. It didn't cost Biya. Why? Biya for 3 months without paying civil servants. Cameroonians will not rise up. Cameroonians will not rise up because Biya was paying the military. And so the military will use punitive actions against civilians. If you don't go to job because you have not been paid, they fire you. There were 100 people waiting to work for free for 3 months. We factored all of this in building a national liberation plan. The first La République outpost that we attacked was the B. Why? Let me give you an example. If you are the bully in the neighborhood and everybody fears you, and then you have a house that is guarded by bodyguards and armed robbers move into that neighborhood, they attack your house and steal your TV, steal your money, and brutalize you. I can assure you any other neighbor will think of packing out of that neighborhood. Because if the bully in town could be attacked in this secure neighborhood, and then they have no chance. That is why we attack the bees. Because the bees presented themselves as invincible, unattackable, unassailable, undefeated. We attacked them. It made the gendarme look useless. Remember, before you were afraid of the gendarme, the bee for you was a foreign nomenclature. You were afraid of the gendarme. Once we hit the bee very hard, gendarmes was nothing. The police even escaped. Not to talk of warders. Paul Biya is protected by the military. We are not trying to kill the military to kill them out of existence. We are trying to demoralize them. Once you demoralize the military, I can assure you that it will engineer even civilians in Cameroon that is afraid of that military to rise up. Yes, economic sabotage is one of what we are doing. Sonara is down. CDC almost 80% close. Timber has been reduced by 60%. What else do we need? Economic sabotage has worked. Economic sabotage is continuing. You asked about Douala. Our first operation in terms of pub was in Douala. The defense chair there, he moved 17 men into Douala for operation because we wanted to take out the place where they store the fuel. We knew if we blow out that place, They will not have storage tanks to move fuel from Sonara and pack them there. Our guys have moved into La République, carried out surgical operations. Now, I want to assure you, we will increase the scope. But based on what we know, our operations against the military in Ambazonia is weakening the military. There are a lot of things we cannot talk about. If we will expose them, you will be shocked. Bia's days are numbered because the military can no longer defend him. They cannot defend their outposts. They are hiding in bunkers. They are in armor cars. You get out of the armor car, we pick your head out. So be rest assured that economic sabotage is going to continue alongside surgical operations against the bee and other kinds of operations. Before I make my concluding remarks, I have just been reading a comment from Mr. John Frundi, and I want to make an official reaction to Mr. John Frundi. Let Mr. John Frundi know the Ambazonian War of Independence has been concluded. Unlike his leadership under the SDF, that was on the ground with massive popular ground support, he failed in policy directives. He failed in prescribing the kind of actions that could undermine BIA. He won an election he could not defend, even when we defended the cities. Today, independence was restored. Our soldiers are defending every block in the homeland. And let Mr. John Frundi know any comparative analysis between our war of independence and his failed resistance against Mr. Biya is non-starter. Ambazonia will prevail because at this moment, we control 80% in a dynamic fashion of our homeland. Let no person use the schisms or the difficulties we face to deceive you that we are not going to succeed. All those who sit on the sideline and hoping for us to fail so they can justify why they failed are doing a disservice to the commitment we gave under them. So I want you to remain committed to your liberation and do not listen to any soothsayer. God bless you all.